That's fine. That's
Okay,
fine. Let's go.
okay. All right, we're in then. We're in. Welcome to the Raising Boys to Men podcast. I am your host, Aaron Dale. And like I've been saying to you, I only want to sit with people that I can genuinely learn from or have a genuine interest in learning about. And that's why today's guest is Daniella Kadene. I got it right,
You
right?
got it right.
I got it right. I was worried about the
Yeah.
surname for a while. Thank you for joining me.
No, you're welcome.
Yeah. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Now, I've been wanting to sit with a therapist of some sort for a while,
Okay.
but there's so many different therapies.
Yep.
Yep. So what is it that you exactly do? Talk to me about that.
Okay. So I'm what you call an integrative therapist. And what that means is, for example, there's different kinds of therapy.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's like, for example, cognitive behavioral therapy, which people call CBT. And that focuses more on how your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors interact with each other. There's therapy like psychodynamic therapy that focuses on your patterns and your experiences. There is somatic therapy
Okay.
that focuses on using physical techniques to treat things such as PTSD, for example. Integrative therapy is, it believes that there's not one single method that works for everyone. It's kind of like having a toolbox. Not one tool isn't going to fix every problem, isn't going to fix every issue. So it's about learning the person, understanding the person, then using the right approach for them. It's about the focus being on the relationship between the client and the therapist. Let's build that relationship. Let's understand what the issue is, and then we can use the right technique for that person.
So is it more like a hybrid,
It's more just about let's focus on the
the
person, let's focus
individual?
on the issue, and then let's see what we might need.
So what made you want to go down that path?
Integrative.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's because I feel that people are complex. People
Facts.
have so many different things going on. You're hardly ever going to meet one person that's gone through exactly the same thing, exactly the same way as someone else. So why should therapy be like that? So I feel that it's useful to have different skills, to know different approaches that you can use to treat someone or to help someone to make sense of their life and their experiences.
Had you, before starting this journey of becoming,
Yeah.
had you experienced therapy yourself?
I hadn't. No,
Okay,
no, I hadn't experienced therapy.
that's interesting.
I don't actually. I respect the field, and I've always respected the field, and I've always. I think I would have gone in and done therapy at some point in my life.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't have done it at the point that I did.
So since you've done therapy,
So I'm not sure if people know this, but as part of the training to be a therapist, you actually have to do therapy,
oh wow.
which I didn't know until I started to do the.
So that was a nice
I
surprise.
started to
Yeah.
do the course, and they were like, "You have to do therapy," and I was shocked. And it sounds silly to say because I'm doing therapy. Why am I so
Yeah, yeah.
hesitant about it? But I wasn't ready at that point, but I had no choice. So I had to start it, and I had to do it for the whole 3 years that I had to do the course.
3 years of therapy.
3 years of therapy, at the very least. You can continue after that if you want, but you have to do that. And I wouldn't have done therapy at that point if it wasn't a requirement of the course.
3 years of therapy seems. I think when some people think of therapy, they think
Yeah.
like, oh, a few like 8 weeks, 12 weeks of therapy.
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah.
Was that different kinds of therapy? Or was it one particular?
So you could choose the therapist that you wanted. I again chose someone that was integrative, and again, some people in the course they did one type of therapy for 1 year, and then they chose something else for the second year and chose something else. I was open to that, but I ended up staying with the same person for the whole time that I was doing it.
Right. So that's interesting, right? Because
Yeah.
I've had therapy.
Okay.
I had therapy for the first time, 2022.
Okay.
So about three years ago. And my mum had been saying to me for years,
Yeah.
you should go to therapy, you should go to therapy. And I was just resistant to it. I was like, my thing was, what's the point in speaking about what's happened?
Mm-hmm.
You can't change it. What's done is done. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I remember having therapy, and originally I spoke to the guy on the phone. So I didn't know what he looked like. Spoke to him on the phone, and then I remember meeting him for the first time. And once he opened the door, he looked younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
So straight away I was like, oh damn.
You're not gonna know nothing.
I was like, how are you
gonna
gonna
help me?
yeah, I've got to open up to you.
Yeah.
And he was amazing, but after a while, I almost felt like it wasn't helping me as much because it almost became not like a friendship, but I just
Yeah.
felt that I'm just speaking to a friend. I
Mhm.
didn't really feel I was being given too many tools.
Mhm.
So I stopped, took a break, went back, but then haven't been for like 2 years. But it's something that at the time
Mhm.
helped me more than I realized.
Yeah. Did you go back to the same person or
I
someone
did.
else?
I
Okay.
went back to the same because I
Wow.
was
Okay.
overwhelmed by the amount of, like you just listed there. There's so
Yeah.
many, and someone was saying, "Is there rapid eye? Am I making
Yeah.
it up?"
EMDR. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, "Okay, there's this, and then there's this, and there's holistics,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "It's too much. Let me just go back to
Mm.
what I knew." And yeah, I just felt that I may as well have been speaking to a friend
Yeah.
at that point.
I understand that.
So I just came away.
I understand. Do you know what? I think it's commendable though that you actually went back to the same person, but that you actually went back anyway. Because so many people are put off by an experience of therapy that they don't end up going back. They're just like, I tried that. It's not for me. I'm not doing it, and then they just close their doors.
Yeah.
And I was actually speaking to a guy about it recently, and he was speaking about similar to you. He had an experience. He didn't like it, and he was like, do you know what? Not doing it again. And I said to him, do you remember that time when you went to the barbers and you asked for a taper fade and you came back with a high top? Do you remember that? And I said, do you remember saying to me that you looked in that mirror and they had brought your hairline back like 4, 5 inches? Like the high top started after you put your hand there, and he was so angry. He was so upset. He said he was looking in the mirror and it had like his hairline had scratches and stuff, and then they brought it to the back and it had the he was so upset. But I said to him, at no point did you say to me, I'm never going back to the barbers. You said, I'm not going back to that barber again. And I think
Mm.
with therapy, oftentimes we get a bad rap. People are like, I'm not going back to therapy again. No, 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 no. That person, you didn't match with that person. That person, you didn't have the same vibe. You didn't have the same, they couldn't meet your needs. That wasn't the right one for you. That was never going to work for you. And I think a lot of people, maybe they don't know or they don't make use of the fact that most therapists offer something called an initial conversation
Yeah.
for about 15 minutes that you can contact them, you speak to them before you decide if you actually want to continue with them. And you can kind of sit with them, have a conversation, let them know why you want therapy, what's going on for you. And that's your opportunity to kind of feel them out. See, okay, do I like your vibe? Is this really going to work?
Yeah.
Do I still want to continue with you? At that point, you don't have to continue. You can just say, okay, I move on to next and do the same thing with 4, 5, 6 people afterwards if you want to. You're not tied in. But I think people think, all right, this is it. This is the
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
I've got to stay with it for the
It's a
long haul.
contract.
It's a
Yeah.
contract. I can't
Mm.
go nowhere. Or they just do it and then they're like, I'm not doing it anymore. But I just think, just like the same attitude that you have when you go to a nail shop or you go to the barbers or you go to the hairdressers, if you have that one person that don't do it right and you're not satisfied, you don't go back to that person, but you don't say, I don't have that need anymore. It's not something that I want anymore. No, you just realize that that person, that shop, that area, maybe I need to go somewhere else.
Do you feel when it comes to matching with a therapist,
Yeah.
it's, I'm not going to say better, but it's more common for men to be with men, women to be with women?
It was interesting because when we were on our course and we sat together as a group and we all kind of reflecting on the fact that now we've got to go and find therapists, we had a really, really good conversation about the type of therapist that we were all going to look for. And everyone was looking for something different. Some people were looking for example, if they had an absent dad, they were looking for a therapist that kind of fit the profile of what their dad was like. Some people wanted an older person for a reason. Some people wanted a younger person for a reason. Some people wanted someone of a particular race. It was very, very interesting what people were looking for. But what I found the most interesting was people already knew from the outset what they wanted, what they were going for.
Mm.
I knew the type of therapist that I wanted. I knew that I was going to go for someone that was an older white lady. And it's because it's very, I had this conversation with someone recently, and they were just like, why? And I said, for me, I wanted someone that was kind of outside my frame of reference. I wanted a clean slate. I wanted someone that I felt that would take me and my experiences and hopefully not really have the same experiences as me and just take what I'm saying and we can unpick that together as though it's fresh and as though it's new. That's what I wanted for myself at that time. But everyone kind of had different things. Some people wanted someone that looked like their mum or was like an auntie or their grandmother, and
Yeah,
everybody has
yeah.
different reasons why they picked the person they picked. Why did you pick the person that you picked? Because you said actually you were
No, I
surprised to see
didn't. I
them.
didn't really get to choose him. It was,
Oh.
I went to a, I can't remember the name of a company, but it was, um, they selected the therapist for you.
Okay.
So I had an initial consultation
Yeah.
with someone, or a white man,
Yeah.
and I think that was done online.
Yeah.
And then they went away and said, we've matched you with someone.
Okay.
And then I think I spoke to that person on the phone. And just immediately, when you speak to someone, you have a vision of what you think they
Yeah.
look like.
Yeah.
And he was nothing like I thought he looked like. But if I had chosen,
That's what I was gonna ask you.
if
Who
I
would you have
had,
chosen? What would they look like?
oh,
Do you know, would it be a man, a woman?
I would immediately have said a man.
Okay.
But then in my head, I'm thinking, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Because I was raised by just women,
Yeah.
but there's the absence of my father
Mm-hmm.
that's there. No, that's a tough one. Because I just feel like if you have the skills, it shouldn't matter if you're male or female. Me being comfortable with you, or me choosing you based off of how you look or
Mm-hmm.
appear, doesn't necessarily mean that you've got the skills to help me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but you touched on something there because you said about
This is
your
therapy already, isn't
comfortability.
it?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right.
You said comfortability. So I was speaking to someone earlier and I said to them, I'm going to answer you actually.
Yeah.
So if your whole life was written down in a book, everything, all the ugly, the bads, the things that no one knows, the things that you've hidden, if it's all written there, and you had to give that book to, let's say, your mum or to, let's say, your children, what chapters would you want them to skip?
Oh.
Or if you don't want to say, are there
No,
chapters that you would want them to
you
skip?
know what I originally thought you was gonna say? Like, who would I want to have that book
Mm-hmm.
that wouldn't necessarily judge me?
Mm-hmm.
Because what chapters? I'd probably say, because when I think of that, yeah, it's almost like, what am I ashamed of?
Yeah.
What am I ashamed of that I don't want anyone to?
But then also, so what are you ashamed of? But then also, what parts do you feel that you're going to be judged the most about? And that's the thing with therapy and the importance of the relationship with the therapist. In order for you to feel fully open and that you can express yourself and you can give them everything and they can say, okay, let's look at this together, you have to feel comfortable. You have to know that, okay, I don't mind giving you my book and you can read all the chapters. You can read every page if you want. I don't mind it. Let's look at this together. But if you feel that, I feel like you might judge me on this part,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
let me
yeah.
just get, then you kind of know, do you know what? Maybe we need some more time before we get to a certain point where I can open up, or maybe you're not the right one for me.
Right, two things. For one, on
Yeah.
that judgment, that's based off of me, not them, though, right?
Yeah.
Because they may not judge me,
Yeah.
but
But
I'm
it's,
believing they're gonna judge me.
yeah. And it's about your comfortability.
Okay. And in terms of the chapter thing, I don't. Maybe my late teens.
Yeah.
Maybe my late teens, because a lot of mistakes were made there.
Yeah.
Wow, a lot of recklessness, a lot of recklessness, but nothing where I feel, yeah, too like, oh my gosh, that would change how someone would look at me completely.
Yeah.
But that I've never been asked that before. That's powerful.
See, yeah.
Because yeah, I never thought of it like that. I'm giving this therapist
Yeah.
my book, my life book.
Yeah.
How are they gonna perceive it? Are they gonna judge me? Is it hard as a therapist to not judge?
No. No.
Really,
No.
really,
Honestly,
like let's.
honestly, I've had a lot. I've seen a lot. I just feel that everyone's gone through stuff, and maybe it's my practice as a social worker beforehand. But I've seen people have got stories. Everyone's got stories.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone's got stuff they've gone through. No one's garden's pretty. Like there's stuff that's there. So I just feel like I don't judge anyone for anything that they've gone through. I more want to help you to make sense of what you've gone through and to help you to move forward with it. In all honesty.
I love that. I love how it sounds. Yeah. But I'm thinking to myself, if someone comes to you,
Yeah.
let's say someone comes to you and they are a version of what you have experienced.
Yeah.
How hard is it in those moments to detach yourself? Because you're trying to give, are you trying to give advice? Are you trying to just receive what they're saying? What is the aim in those moments?
Okay. So firstly, I That's the reason I go to therapy. It's the reason I went to therapy. It's the reason that you have to go through all of that in your training. You have to unpick your stuff. It's very confronting. You're dealt. It's like having a mirror in front of you constantly.
Mm.
You have to work through all of your stuff so that I can be the type of blank canvas that I need to be for my clients. So when they come to me with their stuff, it's not going to pinch as much as it would have before because I've worked through that stuff. So that's why I say, no matter what they come with,
Mm.
even if it's something similar to something I may have experienced before, it's no longer sore anymore. I'm no longer coming from the wound. It's now a scar. I'm now able to meet you differently than I probably would have before I did the training, and that's why you have to do the therapy
Yeah,
as
yeah,
part
yeah.
of the course. But yeah,
I wanna bring up a word which is commonly used now:
yeah,
healing.
yeah.
Is there such thing as being healed?
I believe in healing, but I feel that saying that you have healed, you're constantly, no one's exempt from pain, no one's exempt from heartache, and it's only done when your time is done. So
Mm.
I just feel that you're always going to go through something, so you're always going to have to go through that process of overcoming. So I feel that we're always overcoming something. So I can't say that we've overcome, because if you've overcome, then there's nothing else ahead of you, there's
Yeah.
nothing else for you to experience. So my belief is that you are overcoming, you are healing.
This is what I've learned about myself. I could say to you, Daniela, I feel good. I'm healed
Mm-hmm.
from that last relationship. I feel like I'm over it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not until I get into a similar environment
Mm-hmm.
where I'm tested again, where I can really say to myself, I'm actually not as healed as I thought because now I've been triggered in a
Yeah.
relationship. It's easy to say it outside,
Yeah.
but saying it while you're in the relationship,
I know that some people might, I suppose what I'm getting from what you're saying is that you might need another situation for you to realize actually there's still some bits there that I need to work on.
yeah. So if I use, I love analogies, right?
Yeah.
So I get injured while playing football,
Yeah.
right? My hamstring, and then I do all of this recovery work,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm jogging around. I'm saying to myself, yeah, I'm healed, I'm good, but I haven't tested my hamstring in a match.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I really know how healed I am until I get tackled again?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, oh no, I survived the tackle. I'm actually quite good.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I've been in relationships. I knew it would go like this. I
Yeah.
knew it.
I can see you're like,
I
I
knew
want
it
to go
would go like this. I knew it was gonna just get flipped somehow.
there.
I've been in relationships where um, there's been issues with maybe the baby father,
Yeah.
and my way of dealing with that is originally saying, right, you know what, I'm not gonna date any more women
Mm-hmm.
with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I then reflected on it, it wasn't necessarily the fact that that woman had children or there was a baby father. It was actually her boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
It was more about her. But what I've done is I've painted the picture as a woman with children is now
Yeah.
the issue. A baby father is the issue.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess I can come out of situations sometimes and just avoid. It looked like this, therefore I'll just avoid
Yeah.
that and I'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily deal with it. If I, yeah, I can have a tendency to. I try not to. I try not to paint everyone with the same brush, but I think don't we naturally do that? If you come out of a relationship,
Yeah.
right? Talking to Daniela now, yeah, you
Yeah.
come out of a
Yeah.
relationship, and a man has treated you badly.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of women sometimes go on this path of all men ain't shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
men are this, men are that, and now
Yeah.
we're painting everyone with the same brush.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's our entitlement, but it just happens so often. How do we really stop that from occurring?
You're burnt, and it's understandable why you'd be feeling the effects of being burnt. You've come out of a situation and it's left you with scars. It's left you with, with soreness there. And especially, like you said, if you come out of one situation, you experience something, then you get into another one, you experience something similar.
Mm.
You've got a tendency to say, do you know what, that isn't for me. Maybe that type of woman or that type of guy isn't for me. That's what the issue is. But like you said, sometimes it's about actually looking at it not just from your defensiveness, but actually what was similar in both of those situations, other than it being a woman with children. What was similar in those situations? Was it that, like you said, there wasn't the boundaries that I would have expected? Is it reminding me too much of what life was like for me as a child? Is it reminding me of things that I saw in my mum or things that I saw in my dad? What is it about those situations there that it's reminding me of? So I think sometimes it's about stepping back and looking at it and thinking, okay, what else was going on there? Because maybe I can identify a pattern there, and maybe that's what I need to re-examine. Or maybe there's something about myself that when I'm in these situations, this is what it brings out in me, and maybe I need to go and work on that, because maybe when I'm in those environments with those women, it's reminding me of certain things, and now I'm responding from a place of my inner child and not from where I am right now, and I don't like what that's doing to me. So maybe there's more work that I need to do.
Touch on that inner child part. How? What do we mean when we're saying that?
So it's that person, that child inside of you that has gone through something at a certain point that you might still be reacting from that place. So, say for example, um, your let's say your dad left home when you was 8 years old, and that was a traumatic experience for you. I'm just using you as an
Yeah,
example,
yeah, yeah.
but I'm just saying that was a traumatic experience for you. You remember feeling rejected. You remember feeling abandoned. You remember feeling left. You remember feeling like no one cares about you, that you're not good enough, and you hold those feelings. That's something that could be something. Those feelings could be something that you carry later on in life. So then, when you're in a relationship, for example, and someone criticizes you, or you feel like someone is about to leave, it might bring up those feelings in you that you had from when you was 8 years old, because that's unresolved. So you're going back to that place, that hurt place, that wounded place from a certain time in your life that's left you with an imprint, and you might carry that in later situations. They often say someone might find themselves reacting to a situation now, as they are right now, in the most intense way, and not realize that actually I'm responding to them, this new hurt, as though it's a past hurt. This isn't really about this situation that I'm in right now. It's actually touching something in me that I haven't dealt with, something from before, maybe something from childhood, and I hadn't really realized that that was still impacting me.
So really, literally, every one of us should be in therapy, regardless.
I don't think that everyone should be in therapy. I do believe, though, that everyone would benefit from therapy at some point in their life.
Surely, the sooner the better. No.
It depends, though, because I think that, for example, there's been times in my life where my network, my family, things around me, my community helped me in the way that I needed it then. But then there are other times in my life where therapy would have been fantastic for
Mm.
me. So I think at some point, whether it is your, bereavement, or you're coming out of an abusive relationship, or there's certain points where some people would benefit from therapy, and there are other times when it might not be needed as much. But I do believe everyone probably needs it at some point in their life.
Just a one and done, or
It depends on what you've gone through and how it's impacting you. That's what I would say.
okay. And in terms of men in particular, I want to touch on men.
Yeah.
Do you feel we are more resistant to it, or actually more open to it than women that you know or have experienced?
I don't want to speak for all men in general, because,
Yeah,
and the thing is,
we're not speaking about all
yeah,
men or all
I
women.
don't want to say all men or women, because I have had clients that are males that are willing and able to open up and share some really dark stuff.
Mm.
But I do think that there is an expectation on men to hold more than women. So I do feel that women feel more able to let go and talk about their emotions and their feelings and what's happened and how it's impacted them, and they're allowed to be a bit more undone. I feel like with it's kind of like, I look at it like, for example, flu. If a woman's got the flu,
Okay.
I'm not trying to generalize, but
Yeah,
I will
yeah,
say, if a woman has got the flu, the woman's got the flu. If a man's got the flu, we call it man flu.
yeah,
And I feel like if you're spending a bit too long on the couch with the tissue and sneezing, you're kind of like, oh, here we go. It's like, come on, get it together now. All right, come on, get back up.
yeah.
There's kind of that attitude towards it sometimes. So I feel like with men, sometimes they feel like they've got to get over it quicker, or they can be upset but not too much. They can cry but not too long. Like they can be sad but come on, get over it now. And I think there's sometimes I be, from conversations I've had with some men, they feel that there isn't enough safe spaces for them to be undone for as long as they feel that they need to be undone, and to work through things and take the time for as long as they might need it.
That's I'd agree with a lot of that. I almost feel as men, we're rewarded if we can get through something without help.
Yeah.
Or it's kind of like commended. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I got injured and I didn't even need to go physio.
Yeah.
Or yeah, I was sick and I didn't take anything for it.
Yeah.
Almost like you said, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, let's get back to it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Whereas with women and children, take your time.
Yeah.
Like, do you need longer?
Yeah.
Why is that though? Is that us doing that to us? Is that society? How do you feel? Why do you feel that stigma is there?
I think there's many reasons, but for a lot of people, they speak about there's a lot of stuff there. So it could be, for example, the expectations on you growing up, maybe what your family expected of you, maybe who you had to be growing up, maybe what was safe for you. Maybe it wasn't safe for you as a child to cry when you fell over, when you hurt your leg, when you fell off your bike. It wasn't a safe space. So you learned from early on, it's not safe for me to talk about my emotions. It's not safe for me to cry for too long. This is the expectation of me. This is what I got to live up to. And you kind of adopt that way of being, and you normalize being that way, and then you're rewarded for that later on. You notice that actually, if I'm moaning about this for too long, like I'm called needy, or I'm like I lose respect a little bit. But if I don't talk about it, then it's kind of like I'm getting a pat on the back, or I'm being looked at a certain way. So you kind of learn to do that. So I think it's a learned behavior, but from childhood. That's what I would say.
And it's crazy because unless you have these conversations or tap into it, you don't. Because you mentioned earlier, if there's certain things that you've been through and it's made you feel abandoned, or this happened, or it brought up this emotion, that emotion, sometimes we don't know the emotion that it's bringing up.
Yeah.
So for example, my dad wasn't there, and I, as a kid, just felt like I'm used to my dad not being here. And I'm going through life and I'm getting on with it, like we said. It's not until I became an adult that I connected emotions to that. Like, yeah, I must have felt quite abandoned, or seeing my dad be there for my sisters but not for me. That must have. But as a kid, you don't know those things. You're just, I guess, getting on with it.
I feel like I think you felt it. And even saying, you know, as a child, I must have felt abandoned. But if you take away that word abandoned, how did you actually feel? What feelings did you have?
Probably more. I feel like I was just confused.
Yeah.
I feel like it was just all confusion. Like, such and such his dad is there.
Yeah.
Why is mine not? Wait, those are my sisters, but we don't talk. Like, my dad's over there, but he's not here. My dad said he would come and he wouldn't. It was, I think, just constant confusion. And then you get tired of feeling confused, that you just then start to normalize it.
Yeah.
I guess. And it becomes numb. Confusion becomes numb. So there is no, that's what I mean by there is no emotion, there is no feeling now. It's just a normal way of being.
Yeah. But underneath the confusion, because I think the safest place for us to go sometimes is the umbrella. It's the umbrella term. It's I was angry. All right. But underneath the anger, what was underneath there? Because oftentimes it might be sadness. I felt sad. I felt guilty. I felt upset. I felt anxious. I was worried. There's feelings that are underneath that sometimes, but sometimes it's easy. I don't want to say easy, but it's can be easier to name angry. Everyone gets angry. It's easy, like
blanket emotions.
It's like the umbrella term angry. But underneath that, how did you feel? So you said you felt confused, but it's likely you did feel that. I don't want to name it for you, but there probably was feelings that you had underneath that, like you said, you got used to. It's for some people, you kind of work out at that point, I've got this feeling, I've got this sadness inside, but it's not changing. My dad's not coming back. My circumstances aren't changing. So it's not going anywhere. So then when you say it becomes numb, it just becomes one of those things that is there. Nothing can be done about it. So it's just kind of there, but the ache is still there. That feeling stays. It doesn't go anywhere, but you're just kind of used to it.
Yeah. So I guess it doesn't. If we reflect on it, it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
But surely, even as adults, we have ways of blocking,
Yeah.
right? So to us, it isn't. I'm not bothered. I'm fine.
Mm.
I'm healed. Or that was so long ago. It doesn't even matter. So as a child, I'm just thinking, yeah, I was confused. If I really reflect back, wow, I never thought of this word anxious was there.
Mm.
That anxiousness of, is he coming? Is he not?
Yeah. What do I expect? What's tomorrow going to look
Yeah,
like?
he said he'd be that 6. Oh, I don't know if he is.
Yeah.
Wow, I never looked at it like this. And then the feeling of, okay, it's near 6 o'clock. I haven't heard from him. Should I call him? Should I not call him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, and then I'm having to make those decisions and feeling bad or guilty for
Mm-hmm.
calling my dad.
Yeah.
When that's my dad. I
Yeah.
shouldn't feel like I'm disturbing you when you said you're going to be here at 6.
Yeah.
And I never connected anxiousness.
Mm. Do you know what I want to ask you?
Daniela, all right.
I want to ask you, how has your experiences of being parented influenced how you parent?
um, I want to answer that, but it's almost like I have to answer the reverse of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, parented, the way my mum parented me, my dad didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think my dad has had more of an impact on how I parent than the person that actually was there parenting me.
Yeah.
So everything my dad wasn't, I've tried to be,
Mm-hmm.
which hasn't always been great because, for example, I really wish my dad was there to take me to football when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw my cousin have some great success with football, and his dad was there taking him. And I always thought to myself, if I had a man pushing me, who knows where it could have led to. Now, because I was missing that, I tried to be that for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Right, boys, football, Chelsea tops. Let's get you into a club. Let's do this. Let's do that. My kids have no interest in football.
Yeah.
They are not. I love you, boys to bits. You're not talented in football at all. They just didn't have a passion.
Yeah.
But I was trying to be the parent I wanted rather than the parent they needed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my absent father has had more of an impact on how I parent than my mum.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I answered it, but maybe yeah.
Because I think, like you said, we often parent from the child that we used to be. So it's like, I used to have all of these needs. This is what I would have wanted. Mum, this is what I wanted you to do. Dad, this is what I wanted you to do. And your your default almost is to meet those needs of your younger self. This is what I would have wanted for my parents. So I'm now going to do that for my child. And half the time your child's thinking, I never asked you to do any of this. I don't, this isn't, this is what you needed to feel loved, but this isn't what I need to feel loved. My love language is very different. So whereas maybe, for example, you, when you're saying, I wanted my dad to be there, I wanted him to take me to football, I would have loved to have that. But your son's probably, don't want to speak for your son,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
probably thinking, Dad, I'm good if you call me and say, how are you, son? How are you feeling today? How was your day? That's what I need from you. Needs are very, very different. But often our default is our imprint is really, okay, let me just, what I know is this is how I felt and what I would have wanted for my parents. So let me do that because I feel like that would have filled me up. So I know that's going to fill my kids up. And then you're just learning your kids all over again because they're like, that's good, but this is actually what I want from you. And you're having to pull from something completely different.
That's interesting. Because I don't think, but this is the problem with, not the problem with parenting, but so many of us do it, right? We're just parenting, not really understanding where all of this comes from. Like, why are we parenting the way we are? Is it because we're really focused on, I feel we are, what's best for our child, but also, are we parenting our inner child or that version of us at the same time?
Yeah. And I think, as you know, being a parent, I often say to my kids, listen, it's my first go. I didn't do this in another life, but I don't know it. I'm doing the best that I can with what I have available to me, with what I know. And a lot of times, I think, especially with my first, I fell into that trap of doing what I needed as a child. And then I had to learn, you're not me. You don't have the same needs that I have. You don't want the same things from me. Let me just actually ask you directly, see directly, what is it that you would want from your mum? What is it you'd need from your mum? What makes you feel loved? What can I do that fills you up inside? And then learning that from them and then doing that and realizing, okay, it's individual to the child and you're not me. So I think it's about parents are so hard on themselves because it's like we're trying to make up for what our parents didn't do. So we're trying to do that, but then we're also learning and living life for the first time also and trying to figure out ourselves. Because I just think to myself, I remember when my mum was, I'm not saying my age, but I remember when she was in her 30s and just, I suppose as a teen, just really being really hard on her and just thinking, why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that? You should know this. And now I just think to myself, there's a lot of things I don't know. There's a lot of
Yeah.
things I don't know. There's a lot of things that I have gotten wrong. There's a lot of mistakes that I have made and I probably will make. I don't have it all figured out. This age that I thought everything should be like, you should know it all, I don't. So I can't believe I used to expect that from my mum and from my dad.
I saw a post that you put up
Yeah,
and you referenced something along those lines. You said, I'm no longer attaching my age to
yeah,
my goals.
yeah.
What made you write that?
Because when we get to, I remember thinking, okay, by the time I'm 21, this is what my life's gonna look like. By the time I'm 25, by the time I'm 30, by the time I'm 35, by the time I'm 40. And I'm just looking and just thinking it's ridiculous. I really thought I would have all of these things by this age, and I don't, and it's okay. And I haven't lost hope. It's still going to come at some point.
Mm.
And if it doesn't, it's not for me. But my age, or like I say in the post, no amount of birthday candles on the cake is going to bring any of those things to me at that point. What's supposed to happen will happen when it's supposed to happen. So I just think we can just be so, I don't know, bless me. I did think at 18, I did think 40 was old. And I did think
Yeah.
at 40, this is what my life is going to look like. So yeah, I had to let that go.
Was that, I always feel like men and women look at age differently.
Yeah,
And I may be wrong, but I always feel women think of, by the time I'm this age, I want to have kids,
yeah,
be married, those kind of things.
yeah,
Whereas men, it's normally material things,
yeah,
the car, the home, the money,
yeah.
the, it's not, I want children by this age, I want a wife by this age. Would you say a lot of yours was based on those things?
I do think that men have the beauty of not having to think about their clock ticking. So I do think
Okay.
that
All
I
right.
think that helps. But yeah, I do think that women we have it in our mind more. Okay, kids, we know already by certain ages it gets a lot more difficult to conceive, to carry safely. So
Mm.
we have that already ingrained in us. We already know that. Interestingly, there is also for us, you can't have kids too early, but then too late ain't going to be good for you either. So you've got this gap of, let's say, I feel that for me, what I realized is round about age 25,
I was
26,
gonna say
that's when it started to be okay to start
have it.
talking about or
Okay.
thinking about having children.
Mm.
Before that, it was a bit too much like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then maybe after 30, it's just like you're not thinking, what you're doing, your clock's ticking. So I feel like we have a very small window
That's like a
to women,
5 year
a
window.
5 year window. I feel like that's what we have. So we have to have it in the forefront of our mind of, okay, when are we fitting in certain things? I was speaking to someone recently, I'm not going to name them, but I was speaking to someone recently and they were like, okay, working backwards. All right, so I want to have children, but before I have children, I want to be married. But before I'm married, I want to know my husband for I want us to be I want us to I want me to, I want to know my husband for about, let's say, a year or two before that. And then before I meet him, there's certain things that I want to actually have under my belt as well. They worked backwards to the point where they were like 5 years in the past. And they were just like, what am I gonna do? So I feel like for women it is very stressful. It is very hard sometimes because you've got so much to fit in like you say, a very small window.
Mm.
And by the time you have one child, then you go for that pregnancy and you have your maternity leave, and then you're like, do I want to get back and back on my career, or am I going to go again? It's a lot to think about.
I never looked at it in that sense. Like if you have it too early, you're judged.
Yeah.
If you have it too late, you're
Yeah.
judged. There's almost like a window
Very small window. Even though I read something the other day, it said more women today are having their first child
later, right?
later, so almost approaching 40, if not in their 40s, than ever before.
Are you, not that either one of us would change the children we have,
Yeah.
but if you could have the same children,
Yeah.
yeah, but have had them at a different stage in life,
Yeah.
would you have? And would that have been earlier or later?
It's so difficult because I had my children very young, very, very young. And at the time, I was the only one with children out of my
Yeah.
friends. My friends were living life. They were traveling. They were getting cars. They were at this rave, and
It was all about
it was
them.
dating. It was
Yeah.
all about them. And at the time, my circumstances were my circumstances. So I was never going to complain about it. But I definitely noticed that. Whereas now, there's a shift. Whereas my friends are now settling down. They're now getting married. They're having children. They are thinking about nurseries. My gosh, nursery fees. And they're thinking about all those things. And my arms are swinging.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
love it. I
I'm
love
done.
it. I'm now like traveling. I'm now thinking about, I'm having lie-ins. I'm thinking about that. So I like that I did it when I did it. I wouldn't change it. It was definitely tough. Definitely tough. But I wouldn't change it for the world because now I'm just like, it's great. I can go on holiday for 2 weeks right now and have no stress of a newborn or a 5-year-old. And because I remember the guilt that I used to feel when my children were a lot younger. So I love the fact that I had them when I did. It was hard then,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I'm glad I did.
I had Amari when I was about 21, 22. And I look at it, I think with me, there's different ways I look at it, right? I'm glad that I had children young.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, I'd like now to be even younger. So, like,
Yeah.
but you never know how life is going to be.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, I would have. I'm glad I had my children when I had my children, but the relationship's not working out has made me still want to. I never felt like I had the family. I had children, but I never felt like I had the family. And there's still that part of me, even at this age, I'm 40, I will reveal my age, but even at this age, it's like, is it too late to go again? Would I want to go again? Would I want all those restrictions? But as a kid, I always wanted a family. And I think one of my reasons for wanting so many kids as well, my family's so small. So I was always as well thinking about later in life, being a man, having kids around me, grandkids around me. So I'm building the family that I never had. So to still not have that, oh, gone.
Because you got a family.
Yeah.
You've got, yeah. You've got, so that's the thing. That I was trying. But that's the thing. You've got a family. You've got your 2 boys right now. They're going to have children. You're going to have your grandchildren. Your family is not going to look like, well, may not look like what you wanted it to look like when you were younger. The wife and kids, Jay and Michael Kyle. And
That's what I wanted, Danielle. That's exactly it. No,
there you go. So
that was
already,
it.
it's already gone left.
I wanted my
anyway.
J. Where's my J?
Right. But you might still have your J, but J might have 2 or 3 kids of her own. You're going to come with yours. Your family might look very different. Or it might be as it is right now. And you still got a family. So I feel like we hang ourselves on this nuclear family, mum and a dad and 2 or 3 kids. So this is how it's going to be. But I've seen very little of that family and more of different types of families. That's the families that I see around me. I hardly ever see the mum, the dad and the 2 or 3 kids. And that's how it stays for the rest of their lives. And I hardly ever see that. Yet that's like what we're striving for. That's our goal.
Yes, I've got a family. Yes, my kids are my everything. But when I think about a family, I think about not just me and kids, and then them having a family, and I'm attached to that. It's like me, a woman, potentially our own child, waking up with your child, experiencing that. And it's an experience as well. I think it's me feeling like I never really experienced that.
I get it. I do get it. Um, for me, I mean, I grew up in a broken home.
Okay.
I grew up with a single mum. My examples around me were single parents. That's what my
Normal was.
normal was. It
Mm.
was single parents. My mum, my aunties, my that's what I saw around me. So
Mm.
that's what was normalized for me. Not to say that that's what I was striving for, um, but I didn't feel that for me for me personally, when I think about past relationships and why I stayed in it, it was never to have that family, that Michael Kyle wife and kids family. It was never that um, at all. What I was at peace with it being it being a single parent. If that's what my life was going to be,
But is that
I was
because you
okay with that.
saw that so
It's
much?
because I saw it and I saw it and there was nothing wrong. There wasn't a wrong attached to it. There wasn't a bad attached to it.
Mm.
There wasn't a lack attached to it.
Oh, that's the word.
Yeah,
Lack.
there wasn't a lack.
Are you speaking from the experience of the child in that?
Yes, I'm of course I'm speaking about the experience of the child because for the parent
Yeah.
having to do it on their own, of course that was a struggle.
Yeah.
But for the child, for me growing up in that, I didn't experience the lack. It's only older when I'm older. I'm speaking to my mum and she's telling me all these things that was going on. I'm just like, I didn't know that that
Behind the
was going on. I
scenes.
didn't know you were struggling with that. I didn't know that that was a question mark. I didn't know that that's why you made that decision. I'm thinking, oh, I'm going on holiday for a good couple weeks or months, and it's like I'll get an extended holiday, and I'm so lucky. I'm not realizing actually this is what was going on for mum, and that's why she made that decision. I, for me, I was settled in the dynamic that I was in. What I will say is that there was a lot of bless them. I think my parents probably tried to co-parent and it didn't work out. So I think for me that was where the difficulty was in seeing them try to do that. But being raised by my mum, that wasn't really the issue for me.
All right. That in itself, though, you not experiencing lack,
Yeah.
right? What was your dad's involvement?
So it's difficult. I had one of those dads that what I would say is that my parents struggled to figure out how they were going to co-parent
Mm.
in a way that worked for everyone.
Okay.
So I had a mum that wanted us to be with her, and I had a dad that wanted us to be with him.
Mm.
So a lot of my childhood was spent going back and forth between them, with none of them really able to find a compromise that worked for everyone.
Okay.
So it was a lot of, all right, so now you're living with me and you're seeing one parent on the weekends. All right, now you're living with me and you're seeing the other parent on the weekends. And it was a lot of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Tug of wars.
A lot of tug of wars. I used to call myself the suitcase kids. I speak about that in my book. It was a lot, not really knowing where home was and what my place was because I was constantly in between two households.
So then, that's what your normal became.
Yeah.
There surely was, not that I'm trying to give you therapy, there surely was emotions attached to that.
Yeah.
That steered you in some way into relate. Because when did you say you actually experienced therapy? Was that after having children?
Yeah, way after having children. I experienced therapy recently, in recent years, probably in the last maybe 7 years is when I first.
So do you feel any of your childhood impacted the type of partner you chose to have children with in any way upon reflection now?
No.
Or you staying in a situation maybe?
No. What I would say is that we got together when we were very young.
Mm.
I was about 13, 14 years old. So
high school romance.
Listen, we're barely in high school. So I think a lot of people are just like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
You're love. What do you know about?
Mm.
So I think there was a lot of that. So now imagine me being pregnant at 18. There was a lot of judgments.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, what is wrong with you? You've gone and ruined your life. You're not going to uni now.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not going
You're
to
not
finish your
thinking.
education. You've ruined your life. You're going to be another statistic. You're going to be staying at home. You're going to be on benefits. Your life is over now.
Yeah, yeah.
That's very much, that's what I was dealt with. There was a lot of judgments there. So for me, I I had this drive to prove them wrong. I had this drive. Now we're going to make it work. Okay, you said I'm not going on holiday. Watch me. I'm all over the place. You'll
Mm,
see me. Okay, so you said I'm not going to have a degree. Do. Got to now.
mm.
Okay, so you're saying that I'm not going to thrive. Thriving. Look at
Yeah.
me. So I had this need inside of me to prove everyone wrong. You're
Mm,
going to see me in it for the long haul. You're saying I'm not going to last 20 years now. What are you saying?
mm.
Like I was in that mode. But the problem was, in order for me to prove everyone wrong, I had to settle for a lot. I had to cover up a lot.
Mm.
When things were concerning, when things were happening that made me unhappy or made me feel emotionally unsafe, or things that I wasn't cool with, I'd put up with it. I
Mm.
would settle, I would stay, because how am I going to prove them wrong if I don't? So that became my drive until it was just like,
That's tiring,
it's
man.
time.
Mm.
I can't do it. And therapy played a huge part in that, because around about that time, that's when I started therapy, and my therapist literally turned on the light, and I was just like, this is where I've been living. This is what I've had around me. This is what I've been dealing with. This is what I've been putting up. This is the state that I was in. They
That
literally turned on the light for me.
that way of thinking, it just hit me, like turned on the light and you
Yeah.
see the mess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See
yeah,
the
yeah.
mess. And I was just like, whoa. Because when you're in darkness, you can't see it. It's just
Mm.
there. You might be tripping over some stuff and whatever, but it's there. But my therapist turned on the light, and I was just like, can't ignore it now. I can't hide from that. I'm not cool. I don't want to live like this. I don't want to be in this. This isn't a open the doors, open the window.
Yeah, I need to breathe.
I need to breathe. I
Mm.
need to feel like me. This isn't me. And it was, I think for me, if anything, if I think back to that younger me, I got to a point where I was just like, what was driving a younger person was that I cared about what people thought.
Yeah.
I cared about what people were saying. I cared. But older me was like, I don't care. I don't care what anyone's got to say about me. I don't care what they think. So it kind of released that hold, and I felt free
Mm.
enough to just say, all right, done with that now. So for me, it was more that. It wasn't really growing up and those experiences that kept me there. It was my stuff that kept me there, in terms of feeling like I had to prove everyone wrong. You guys said, all right, because of this situation you're in now, this is going to be you, your life's done. And I was just like, you're writing me off at 18? No, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. No. So for me, it was that was my driving force.
But then I guess getting to the point where therapist turns on the light,
Yeah.
you see all that mess.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
Yeah.
To then say, I'm now going to clean this up.
Yeah.
That's two completely. Because some of us see the mess
Yeah.
and still say, I got 2 kids.
Yeah.
I got 1 kid.
Yeah.
I'm married. All of these now become the reasons why you should stay,
Yeah.
rather than this isn't right for me.
Yeah.
How did you have that conversation with yourself where you said, okay, I see the mess, but now I'm going to act on it?
Well, once you see it, you can't unsee. You can't unsee it. It's
Yeah.
there. You can't hide from it. So once it became known to me and I could see it around me, it's messy. It's suffocating. It's that you're aware of it. You can't hide from it. So it became something that I knew I couldn't stay in. And one of the things that really rubbed me the wrong way sometimes, when I hear people say, why did you stay in it so long? Why were you there for so long? It really bothers me when people say that to me, and not necessarily to me as directly, but even when they say it to other people.
Yeah, when you hear that.
When I hear people
Why
say
though?
it,
Why does it bother you?
because I just think, all right, have you ever gone to the train station?
I knew there was an analogy coming.
Have you ever gone to the train station and thought to yourself, let me get on the wrong train? Have you ever said, you know what?
Purposefully.
Have you ever,
No.
yeah, purposely, have you ever been like, let me come from my platform, go across to the other platform and wait for a train that's going in the other direction? Have you ever done that?
No, I've never purposely. No.
Right. So that's my point. My thing is, you get on the train that's heading in the direction that you want to go. Whether it is marriage, whether it is kids, whether it is stability, whether it is security, you go in that direction. So when you're on that journey and you're feeling like a little bit there's disruption.
Mm.
It gets a bit maybe crowded. You feel a bit lonely. It's starting and stopping.
You
They're
don't
just you
recognize where
don't
you are.
recognize
Yeah.
where you're going. When you're going through those experiences, there's kind of like this thought cycle in your mind where you're like, you know what, I'm done, let me leave. And then you're like, actually, oh, it's speeding up now. Okay, I'm going to get there a bit quicker than I thought. Okay, cool, I'll sit down. And then you're like, oh, it's happening again, let me just go. And then you're like, okay, they just apologized. All right, all right, okay, maybe let me settle. And you go through this, you're in this conflicting space where you're
Mm.
like caught between wanting to ride it out, wanting to stay, wanting to be loyal, but then also feeling like this isn't this isn't for me. I'm not happy here. I don't want to be here anymore. This isn't the journey for me anymore. I'm wanting to get off. And you're caught in that cycle until you get to a point where you're like, I'm done. And for some people, that might be after one or two stations, and some people might be after 20 stations. Some people might be the stop before you get to that end goal. But no one, you can't tell anyone that hasn't been on that journey with you and endured the things that you have. You can't say to them, why did you stay for 5, 10, 20 stops? Why didn't you go at stop? You don't get to say that to them. So
Mm.
I feel like there's not this grace for people and their experiences and their journeys, and that's why it rubs me the wrong way, because I'm just like, you weren't in this. You don't know what happened. You don't know what happened to that person. I don't think people realize that leaving is a privilege. People don't get Leaving is a privilege. You don't understand what that person is grappling with. If they left when they wanted to leave, where are they going to get childcare from? How are they going to keep a roof over their head? How are they going to eat? How are they going to feed their children?
So what you're saying, you have to plan your
So
exit.
yeah, so I think some people, it's not as easy to just pick up and leave when you want to leave. Some people want to, they identify that and they realize, and do you know what? It's not safe for me to do it yet. It's not smart for me to do it yet. I've got kids to think about.
I have a question.
Go.
So I hear this a lot.
Yeah.
I may have been guilty for it myself.
Yeah.
People staying in situations because I might not get anything better.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that happens
Mm-hmm.
a lot, right? We're weighing up, okay, I'm at a bus stop.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I missed the bus or not.
Mm-hmm.
I could either wait here
Mm-hmm.
and hope that the bus comes, or I could start walking and maybe get there on my own or get another bus. Some of us just stay still because this is what I know. And there's no guarantee that I'll meet someone else. There's no guarantee. Surely people staying in situations for 5 years because of that fear, there is that part of, why are you staying? Do you not know you can get better? Why are you accepting that? I get that it may rub you the wrong way in the sense of like, why would you stay for 20 years if you wasn't happy? But there's all of those things to manage. When am I going to get childcare? I can't just leave. It's not as simple as, okay, I'm gone. I've got my kids to think about. I've got the mortgage to think about, this. But for some people, just staying in a relationship because there's no guarantee. How do you feel about that?
Some people do. For some people, that is there. They do think to themselves, well, I don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel satisfied. I don't feel happy in this. I'm not excited to come home. But maybe this is it. Maybe nothing better is going to come for me. Maybe this is me. Maybe this is my life. Maybe it's what it's supposed to be. Maybe I've just got this unrealistic fantasy. Some people do have those feelings. Some people stay because they don't think there's anything better for them. So a lot of people, I have had those conversations with people where they're just like, you know what, I'm not over the moon, but I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm all right. And until they see or get a glimpse maybe of either something better or thinking to themselves, yeah, but even if I can't see better, this right now is not it for me. Let me just go anywhere. Until they get to that point, some people do stay.
Do you ever try to therapy? The wrong word probably used. Therapy your friends. Like, do you ever have friends that? Because I feel like as a therapist, you've even done it on this. Like, it's just, I've just had moments where I'm like, I'm clearly in therapy. But do you have friends where you're like, I just want to, or I just find myself giving them
I
a session as if
I take a step back from that role. I just think it's a very tricky space to be in, and a lot of people I hear it too often. I don't need a therapist. I got friends. I don't need a therapist. I got you.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, 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 no. I can't be your therapist. A friend can't be your therapist. So,
Why?
because for many reasons, what I'll say is that therapy is not supposed to be reciprocal. It's not supposed to be you give a little, then I give a little, then you give. No, 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 no. But with friendships, if you had a friend where every time they came to you, they're just talking me,
Yeah,
you're just going to be like, this is one sided. This is not.
yeah,
Where's can I talk now?
yeah,
That's how you're going to feel with therapy. That's the expectation. It is all you. It's for you to share your stuff and for us to work through that stuff. So I think in there's
without
that
judgment, right?
without well not only without judgment, but it's just a space for you. With friendships, it's both of you, but in therapy, it's just you. So it's that number one. But then it also is your friends again, like you said, judgment. Sometimes
Yeah,
you might feel that you're going to be judged for something if you're talking about the same thing over and over and over again, your friend is just going to be like, are we still talking about this?
yeah.
So there is that sometimes where you just feel like, is there going to be that judgment? Is there going to be that space for me? But then it's also knowing that your friend comes with stuff. So a lot of the time in therapy, like I said, your therapist is a blank canvas. So you can bring what you're going through and you can explore it and just feel safe enough to know that they're not coming with any preconceived stuff. Your friend might have stuff that they haven't worked through that's going to feed into what they're saying to you.
Mm,
So it's important for there to, your friend isn't your therapist. I hear that all the time and I'm just like, no, your friend is your friend.
mm. Because it's true. Sometimes, like that's the reason why I left that therapist. Is because
Yeah,
it felt like I don't know if comfortable is the right word, but it
yeah,
just I didn't feel like I was being like even here.
yeah.
I felt like I've been tested, or
Mm,
there's been moments where I've been really made to think.
yeah,
With the therapist that I had, although he was amazing for maybe what I needed at the start,
mm,
I didn't feel that there was progression.
yeah.
So I want to actually, there was something you posted,
Mm,
and it's a, it's like a message. It says, I just wanted to touch on this because I thought it was quite interesting. It says, a lot of people think that domestic abuse ends when the relationship does, but often that's when it gets much worse. The breakup shatters the abuser's the breakup shatters the abuser's sense of control. They feel it slipping, their hold weakening, their power fading, and they can't take it. So they tighten their grip and do everything they can to hold on. What made you write that? Where does that come from?
I have a lot of clients that have experienced domestic abuse. A lot of clients. And for me, what I don't think people understand is even if you know someone that's going through domestic abuse, there's this assumption that when that relationship ends, when they've finally left, because it's such a long process to get them to the point where they can leave and it's safe enough to do so. But once they do, people automatically think, okay, it's done now. It's not done. That's when, in most cases, that's when the abuser now is, like I said, rolling up their sleeves because they were thriving off that power and that control.
Mm,
Once they feel it weakening, once they see that actually I don't have the control that I used to have anymore, it's slipping away from me. Now they do everything. Pull out all the stops. They take out everything that they have to get it back. And that often means whether it is finances, controlling your finances, using the kids because you've got kids, so there's that tie that they will always have to
mm,
some degree. Emotional abuse, showing up, knowing your patterns, it intensifies and it becomes even more dangerous for the survivor. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. They think that, okay, once they've left, it's cool now. They're safe. No, they're not safe. That's when you need to be even more watchful. That's when you need to be even more supportive. That's when you need to be even more vigilant because they're going to come from angles that they weren't that they weren't touching before. Now they're gonna, if you're sharing bank accounts, they're gonna withdraw that money. They're gonna try and leave them in a situation where they're weak. They've got no choice but to come back. If they were paying for the mortgage, they're going to stop paying for that. If they were paying for the rent, they're going to stop paying for that. If they were supporting with the kids, that's going to get pulled away. They're going to try everything that they can, every tool they have, to pull you back and to get back that control and that power. And I think a lot of people say, why did it take you so long to leave? And what people don't ask is, what happened when you tried to leave? What happened? I
mm.
think about the Cassie and Diddy situation.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just think people are just like, why did you stay so long? Why did you stay? We saw on camera what happened when she tried to leave. She literally ran off, and you saw him kicking and punching and doing all of that to her on the floor. That's what happened when she tried to leave. And many times you might not see the physical in the same way that we saw with Cassie and Diddy, but there's a lot of those punches and those kicks that's happening behind the scenes that you don't know about. It's coming through finances, it's coming through the children, it's whispering things to children, saying certain things to them, it's messing with the children's mind, because you know that that's going to impact the mum, and the mum's just going to think, do you know what, to keep my children okay, let me just go back, because at least then they're not dealing with that, they're not hearing, oh, mum is this and mum is that. And I say mum and I say women because, and I recognize that men go experience domestic abuse as well,
Yeah,
but I also recognize that there's a big disparity there and women
100%.
experience it.
And just because we say one doesn't mean the other doesn't
Yeah,
exist. Yeah.
just want to be careful when I say that, but it's a lot. It doesn't just end when the relationship ends, and I think not many people realize that.
I feel that would almost, hearing that, for me, if I was a woman as well, I'd almost think, if it's going to get worse after I leave, why not just stay? I guess many would think that, right?
Yeah, many would think that, and I think some people have actually said that. They've said, you know what, let me just. I don't want to. After seeing what that person's gone through, or after knowing the lengths that my person can go to, let me just stay, because it's better that I stay than deal with that. And a lot of that is sad, but that is a lot of women's mindset, and I completely understand why they would feel that way, because it doesn't feel very much like they are protected in the way that they need to be.
I just want to, I don't know, I just want to kind of speak to people out there directly. Like, if you are, what would your advice be if you are a woman in that situation? You've been in a relationship for multiple years, months
Yeah.
even, and you know this isn't right for me, but I feel scared to now step out of it.
Mm-hmm.
What would you advise that person do?
If you feel scared, if you're fearing for your safety, if you're fearing for your children's safety, then you need to leave. So it's about how can you do that safely? And
Mm.
that's what the focus needs to be. So you speak to those people around you that are safe enough that you feel comfortable speaking to. You speak to a professional network. You contact, there's contact numbers that you can contact, whether it's social services or domestic abuse lines, or you speak to someone, a lawyer, you get advice about what your options are, what is safe for you, where you and your children can go, or where you can go, or what is available for you, and you make sure that you get that information there. It's not about staying and putting up with if it's compromising your safety, if
Mm.
it's compromising the children's safety. It's about how. It's not if, it's about how can I do this in a safe way. So it's about making sure there's so much information accessible to us right now. We have Google, we have
Yeah.
search engines, we have there's so many different things that we can access now to help us to find a way out. So it really is about, okay, start to get the ball rolling, start to have those conversations with people that you feel safe with,
Mm.
people that you know that you can trust, and start to plan your exit.
And I just want to touch on before we leave, I Know Why She Smiles.
Yeah.
That's the name of your book, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Talk to me about that book. What encouraged you to write it?
I always knew that I was going to write that book. That book was for the younger me who needed her voice to be heard. It was about my experiences, um, mainly becoming a young mum at 18 years old, and the world turning their back and saying she's done. There's no hope for her. She can't do this. Her life is over. And it's about her trying to figure out and making her way through life and proving, actually, no, I can and I will, and watch me do it. And it not being easy, it being a really tough journey, especially when not only the world is saying that you can't, but also those in your inner circle, your family, when your friends are saying, do you know what? Not only are you done, but I don't, you've disappointed me so much that I don't even want to have anything to do with you. And you really having to find your way by yourself and find tools when you don't even know where the toolbox is. So it really is about that young person's journey to still survive, but also thrive in a world that tells her that she can't. So I was always going to write that book at some point in my life to that younger me, but also to other people that are also experiencing that goes through something, and everyone says you can't or you won't, and they don't know how. It's that encouragement for them to do it.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's powerful. I
Yeah.
wanted to ask though, because you had the motivation or the energy to prove people wrong.
Yeah.
Right? So when I guess you came away from the relationship,
Yeah.
Did you, was there any, what you expected or thought may come your way in terms of those in your inner circle or family? Did it end up being that way, or was you actually supported?
What was difficult for me is, like I said, because I had such a drive to paint this amazing picture of what my life was like. Because, like I said, I went through a teen pregnancy. I went from being shunned, I went from being ostracized, I went from no one even looking at me, talking to me, to then being couple goals and then being the
Oh,
standard. And
yeah.
so, because of that, I kind of set myself up. So, then when it came to me saying, all right, I'm not happy, I've outgrown this person isn't for me, I'm not okay, I'm leaving, people are just like, what are you talking? What are you talking? It's like when you have those celebrities that you look at and you just think, that's what the Michael Kyles and the
Yeah, yeah,
Jakes,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
think that's what
We didn't
I'm
see it
striving
coming.
for. And then they all of a sudden there's a plot twist and they break up or they divorce. People are just like, they're rooting for you to stay together or they don't understand it. So I think there was a lot of that for me. It was a lot of me having to do some serious explaining and just saying, look, this is what was going on. This is what was happening. This is what I was covering up. This is what it was really like. And once I was able to have those conversations, then I say the support was there. And the only way I was able to get through that is through the support that I had from my circle. But it definitely took a lot of me being open and honest about my truth. Whereas before, I was very scared to do that. But I was, this is my ugly, this is my mess, this is my dirt, this is what's going on. And guys, I need help. Guys,
Yeah,
rally
yeah,
around me. Guys, support me. And they did that and they helped me. But it came with a cost. It came with me having to let go of the pride, let go of the ego, let
yeah.
go
The
of
facade.
the facade of this story, of this fantasy that I also had, and having to put that down and just say, no, this is the reality. This is my truth.
I feel like as men, we really struggle with that.
Yeah.
I don't feel, I even said to my friend the other day on the podcast, I don't want to feel like I'm dumping my issues on anyone. So I'd rather just keep them to myself because, especially when you see what other people have going on,
Yeah.
you feel like, if I know that could be a reason to go therapy because you're not necessarily dumping it on your
Yeah.
therapist. But I think as men, sometimes we struggle. We put on this image of everything's okay. When we're really being weighed down, we don't want to hand that to someone else because we don't want to add to their stress. So we end up in this space of just hovering. Like, I'm really struggling, but I can't tell anyone I'm struggling. So I just struggle.
And that's sad. And I think for me, I hate to put you on the spot a little bit, but when I've seen, some of your previous podcasts, and I kind of get a sense that there's kind of like, you really want to open up, you really want to share, but there's something inside of you that holds you back where you're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't go there, or maybe, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, I don't say
Yeah.
you don't feel it's safe to do that, but I kind of get a sense of hesitance from you to really go there amongst when you are with other men. And I did wonder what that was about for you. Is it your stuff? Is it that you don't feel safe? Or is it that you are feeling like, I don't feel that.
You know what it is? I think a lot of the times, there may be whenever I'm speaking, like even if I'm speaking about my dad and my sisters and whatever, I know that that could potentially get back to them. This is an open
Yeah.
platform, so I
Yeah.
get hesitant sometimes because I don't want to disrespect anyone. I
Yeah.
always want to speak from my experience. I don't want to speak on behalf of anyone else. And I had this conversation with my mum as well because when I first started speaking about domestic abuse that happened in the household,
Yeah.
um, it didn't necessarily make her feel happy or confident or nice. But I had to say to her, this is my story. This is me sharing my truth. And she was fine with that. So I think there's moments where I want to, but I'm thinking about the ex that was quite toxic, or I'm thinking about what this person may think or that person. And I'm just trying to keep everyone happy.
I get it. I get it. I
I
get
guess
it.
I guess that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. It's that self awareness of, I know how this can backfire
Yeah.
in a million different ways. And it's not my intention, but I know where some people can take it. And I don't want to hurt any feelings. I don't want to upset anyone. So let me just try and say what I can
Yeah.
in the way that I can. So I get it.
But in reality, I guess this is the thing, right? When we go, even when we're in relationships, we don't want to necessarily paint that person
Yeah.
a certain way. So we mask.
Or we rescue. We rescue. That's
Explain.
something that I feel that because we don't want someone to really feel or deal with you know that what they did weren't right.
Yeah.
But if I really speak up and let people know what they did, they're going to have some serious consequences.
Mm.
So rather than me deal with the uncomfortableness, the guilt that I'm going to feel with you dealing with the consequences, I'm going to do that thing where I'm going to rescue you and I'm going to hold it. I'm going to protect
So
you.
even when they've done wrong, you're still saving them.
Even when they've done wrong, you're saving them because for you, it hits something inside you. You feel that guilt. You feel that, okay, but is this going to reflect badly on me? Or, oh, this is how they might lose their job, or they might lose their support, or they might not have that friend. So let me just, I know what they did, but let me just hold it. Because if I really speak up and say what they did, it's going to have too many negative consequences for them. So let me just not. In that way, you're rescuing them. You're rescuing them from the consequences. You're rescuing them from the punishment. You're holding it in to protect them, even though they're the ones that done the wrong.
I never looked at it like that.
Because there might have been times in your life that someone has really messed up and you're
Oh,
just like,
many
right,
times.
okay.
Many times.
And you're just like, do you know what? I want to tell so and so what
Yeah.
you done. But I know if I tell so and so what you done, this is what's going to follow. So rather than that follow for you, because I've got a heart and I do care and
Yeah.
I know what's going to happen to you as a result of that, let me just keep quiet. But then it means that they can continue doing what they're doing. And they can go and do that, not only to you, but to someone else, and they can get away with it because they're not dealing with the consequences. But for you, you're holding it because you're just like,
Mm.
and I thought oftentimes we do that. We rescue people from their own stuff, from the mess that they created, from the bad that they've done, because we feel guilty. And I often have to say to myself, why are you feeling bad? Why are you feeling bad when you didn't do anything bad? Why are you feeling bad? Are you feeling bad because you're not used to holding people accountable? Are you feeling bad because you're used to saving people from the stuff that they did? You're used to covering it up before they even have to say sorry. You're like, oh yeah, it's cool, it's cool. All right, it's okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta stop doing that.
You know what? There's like 4 minutes left on the clock here, but I remember being in a relationship and finding out something,
Yeah.
right? And it wasn't nice to find out. I'll just put it that way. And I literally gave that person it was like within 24 hours, everything was wiped off.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I thought to myself, if that was me, it would be nice if that person was so forgiving.
Mm.
And you know what? We can get past it. And I regretted it
Yeah.
because it actually, I feel, weakened my position because you now know,
Mm-hmm.
ah, he forgave me for that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not more likely to do it again, but the fear of doing it again isn't as great now because you know how easy it was to get away with it the first time.
Yeah.
So hearing that, yeah, there's been times when I've been easy on people just because I guess I wanted to be nice, or I just wanted that same treatment if it ever happened to me,
Yeah.
or if I ever done that. But the fact of the matter is, I would never do that.
Yeah.
You know what? I just want you to look into that camera and just
Yeah.
let people know where they can find you, your socials, and all that good stuff.
Okay, so my name is Daniella Kadene. You can find me on Instagram at Daniella Kadene, and you can find me on Threads at Daniella Kadene, and you can find me on, I think I'm on Facebook at Daniella Kadene as well.
Guys, please go and follow her. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next week, we are out.